remain in the 116th Paris-Roubaix. Peter Sagan has finished his own mechanical repairs. Looked like he was messing with the stem there. This is Sylvain Dillier. Sagan at the front, settled down again, hands in the drops, continues to ride on. Rare section on smooth road and off the cobbles. Rest of the bike looks fine. Third man in this group is Jelle Wallace, the Belgian. Good ride from Dillier and Wallace, but again, with all the firepower still behind, the Van Avermaet and Terpstra group at 47 seconds, and Gilbert group at 1:27 as well, with at least 20 riders in there, maybe 30 as well. You wonder what is else to come. There's the defending champion Greg van Avermaet in the second group at 48 seconds, with the winner of the Ronde van Vlaanderen last week, the Tour of Flanders, Nicky Terpstra, former Dutch champion and of course a former winner of this race. This is the closest group to Peter Sagan, and two riders left at the front with Peter Sagan. Dillier and Wallace. There's Sepp van Marke. He has Taylor Phinney with him, Wout van Aert from Verandas Willems as well. They're working fairly well, this group, but they're losing time all the time on Peter Sagan's group, and even when, Sean Kelly, Sagan had to perform his own repairs there with the Allen key.
Yes, it was surprising to see that at this point in the race, because they've been over so much, very bad terrain, very bad section of cobbles. If your bar is a little bit loose, but obviously maybe from the working and all that vibration, it looked like he did tighten up his bars and tighten up his stem, and his bars are still on the bike, thank God.
It was brave to attempt it while riding at that speed, and he's radioing in now. Maybe he wants to give him the tool back. On to the next sector. Sector 7 in Paris-Roubaix 2018. This is a sector from Sismont to Borgel. It is 1.3 kilometers long, a 3-star sector, and again another of the sectors we're going to be seeing once more in July. Tour de France will take on the cobbles on its stage to Roubaix in a few months' time. Sagan at the front. Is this his moment? Is this his day? This year so far, just one stage early on in the year, down under. And then that win at Gent-Wevelgem. 46 kilometers of the 54.5 of cobbles ridden so far. They'll be feeling it in the legs now. Oh, and Jelle Wallace, says Sean. Jelle Wallace just loses the wheel, and it looks as though we might soon be down to 2 at the front.
Yes, he's definitely starting to lose contact, and not surprising, I think, the pace that Sagan is pushing on here. He's really piling on the pressure. Still looking very impressive, and the question is now that group chasing behind Van Avermaet, Terpstra, which was at the 59 seconds. Is there something left in those guys? Is there a big attack left in some of the guys? And I think on the cobble sections, that's where they have to start doing it, and they cannot wait for too long more, because we're getting ever so close to the finish, getting close to that 25k to go. I'd not be surprised if we see a big attack from some of the guys like Van Avermaet, Terpstra, Van Mark. We have a lot of talented riders chasing Peter Sagan.
Remember, Van Marke likes the Carrefour de l'Arbre. We've seen him attack on that as well before towards the end of the race. In the meantime, kudos to Sylvain Dillier for still being there. Trying to get in the break before actually managing to get in the break several times today. He wasted a lot of energy in that first hour, and it's such an impressive ride for the Swiss champion still to be there.
Big time. When you're out there in front and in the breakaway, you put in such an effort, to get away first of all, and then to hold on out there for kilometre after kilometre. And when the riders come up from the rear, notably Sagan, like he has been following in the main peloton, so you conserve that so much energy, and not surprised there to see Jelle Wallace having difficulty. You just run out of energy as you get closer to the finish here in Roubaix.
Puddles on the side of the road being dodged by Van Marke, pardon me. Van Avermaet a couple of wheels further above him. 1 minute and 10 seconds now to Van Avermaet's group. Sagan pulling out time all the time. Remember, victorious in the 100th Tour of Flanders 2 years ago, has not won a monument since. With all the talent he has and all the wins he's had, you really would have thought he would have picked up more in terms of monuments than just one Ronde van Vlaanderen so far. Remember, no world champion has won this race with the world champion's jersey on for 37 years. Bernard Hinault, who famously turned up once, won it and didn't come back again, saying that, well, we can't repeat his full quote, but it was a race for stupid people, I think he said. I think you'll take issue with that since you won it a few times, but it was a funny quote at the time. Nobody's won in the World Championships jersey since then.
Yes, it's a long, long way ago, and it's going to be a great victory if he does manage to hold on out. And we can see Sagan, it looks like that he's slowly upping the pace a little bit. It looks like that he's starting to push on now, and he's getting to close to the 20 kilometers to go, 23.6 to be exact, and I think he's getting more confident maybe, and depending on your feeling, and the riders, they know so well how you're feeling. If you still feel you have a lot to give here, well, then you can afford to do that, and slowly he will just Sylvain Dillier, he will just get into difficulty unless he's on a super day, because he's been out there, as we mentioned, for a long time.
Well, there he is following Sagan's wheel at the front. Sagan shows that handling around each and every one of the corners. That's something we often forget about on the cobbles as well. I know Arenberg, and the typical image is one long straight line, but lots of short 90-degree corners on these really tough sectors. Sagan at the front. Now Wout van Aert. There's Sturven at the back. Still there for Trek Segafredo. Well, this lot have been here for quite a number of years. Sagan still getting turns from Dillier. What a ride from the man from Asche de Zella Mondial. Oh, we said they had a revamped classics lineup. This man's the latest man to join, and what a performance. Just over 22 kilometers to go. We're approaching Carrefour de l'Arbre in the next few sectors. The deciding sectors of this Paris-Roubaix approaching. But has the deciding move already gone? The world champion, Peter Sagan, is out there. He has one man for company. But that man, despite the fact he's riding a wonderful race, Sylvain Dillier, has been out since the very start of it. Sagan, running at 51 kilometers per hour here, has looked stronger and stronger as the race has gone on. 125, and this gap, alarm bells will be ringing, won't they, in those cars now?
Yes, well, like we can see there that the effort he was putting in, it looks like to be a bigger effort. He seems to be pushed on a bit more, and I think the clock is telling here, because 126 at the moment, and they ain't hanging around in this chasing group. We can see Terpstra is pushing on, Van Avermaet is there. Like, you have some real talented riders, real strong riders, and they're not able to eat into the advantage at all. It's Sagan who is just pulling out all the time in the past 3-4 kilometers, 5 kilometers.
126. Remember that initial hesitation when he went away, and a lot of people have been thinking, it's all right, there's 53 k's left, a long way to go, somebody will chase him. They have decided to chase him, but it doesn't look at the minute like there's enough firepower left.
For the moment, no. We can see there's, getting close to the 130 advantage for Sagan here, and how much has he got? How is he feeling? And that's something is going to be, very important. But we can see Sylvain Dillier there. The car comes up. He's starting to ride once again, so they're prepared, to continue on contributing with Sagan, and that is vital here, that he has, this rider with him that continues on, because if you just get that little rest period, 80, 100 metres in his wheel, you recover a bit, and then you can go again and do a long turn on the front. And it's so important that you have one rider with you here.
Well, this has been a Sagan show so far, and Sylvain Dillier, whatever happens here, he'll be quite enjoying himself now. He's in his national kit. He's had a hard day. If he can get to the end without having a big crisis here, whatever happens, he's going to be up there at the end of Paris-Roubaix from a breakaway. It's been a very special ride from him, and a pretty good attack at a vital time from Peter Sagan, just before the place where Tom Burnham won it from, all on his own in 2012. 20 kilometres to go, and we're approaching those two key sectors we were talking about, Sean. Next is Conflans-en-Pévèle, very close to the border with Belgium, 1.8 kilometres long, but it's a 4-star sector, followed almost immediately by the Carrefour de l'Arbre. And of course, in recent years, we've seen people make winning moves here. Bonen's won twice from there. Cancellara's won from there. Van Summeren's won on his own from that point as well. And it's getting to the point you've got to do all your work yourself now. Everybody's on their last leg. Everybody's tired. It's about strength and being there.
Yes, well, it's all about how much you've got left in the tank, and we will see pretty quickly on those sections. Conflans-en-Pévèle and Carrefour de l'Arbre, if you have got anything left. And certainly the ones who are doing the chasing here, that Van Avermaet, Terpstra, that group, they have to try and do something if they're going to have any chance of pulling back Sagan. And it doesn't look like 125 at the moment.
It's not shifting, is it?
It's not shifting at all. But if you can, yes, put in a real strong attack, and it is possible to close it down, but you would need more than one rider to go in the attack.
5 sectors to go. The Swiss champion, the world champion, and a bank of enthusiastic fans. The 116th Paris-Roubaix is approaching a very exciting conclusion, but the move might already have gone. Peter Sagan attacking with 53 kilometres to go, bridging to the breakaway. One by one they've dropped off. Only Dillier remains with him, and Sagan in the rainbow jersey, hoping to become the first man in 37 years to win with that garment on his back. He has 5 sectors to ride, the most difficult of which comes after this one. It's decision time. It's time to find out whether these two guys can hold on. 1:29, their gap is good, but have they managed to eat properly? Have they managed to drink properly? How are they feeling? Is cramp going to strike? Anything can happen in this race at any time. It is not over till it's over, but it's looking very good for them.
Looking real good. Still holding on that 129. And I think we will see who's going to win this Paris-Roubaix pretty quickly now, because back in that chasing group, will we see some of the riders who will be expected to put in an attack? If they do not do it, very quickly in the first couple of 100 metres of the section we're on at the moment with Peter Sagan and Dillier, then I think it's going to be between the two riders we have here on our screen.
1:27. Again, it's just not changing whatsoever. Let's see what the reaction is from behind.
Here we go.
Is there going to be anything? You're right, this is the moment now, Sean. Taylor Phinney, he has Sepp van Marken at the back of this group. Nicky Terpstra's here. Greg van Avermaet as well, the defending champion. Wout van Aert running another brilliant cobbled race before this part of his season ends. You can see Nicky Terpstra won last week. Yellow Allies, who's dropped back as well. This is a big moment. 1:27, still no change. Sagan's looking strong, and Dillier's not showing any sign of weakness.
He's riding amazingly strong, and he's been, as we mentioned many times, he's been out there for a long time, but he's putting in a monstrous ride here today.
300 metres remaining of this sector of cobbles, and then we head towards the Carrefour de l'Arbre. Well, Sylvain Dillier, by the way, was a late inclusion into this team. He replaced Rudy Barbier, who fell last week in the Ronde van Vlaanderen and needed 5 stitches in his knee. Dillier had only had one warm-up race prior to this. He was withdrawn after 3 stages in the Circuit de la Sarthe. Came back, won the Route à Délier at the end of March, his first warm-up race back. That was his 7th professional win. He is, of course, a Grand Tour stage winner. But this would be something very special. And the company is in as well. The crowd knows that this is something that they will remember for a long time. You could hear the noise they were making. The gap is going down a little thanks to the acceleration from Taylor Phinney.
Problem for Van Aert.
Oh dear, Van Aert needs a new wheel. He has the neutral service with him quickly, but it's at completely the wrong time. And what Van Aert will need superhuman strength to chase back on.
Yes, we can see there he just dropped a chain, and it can happen so easily when you go onto the section of cobbles. The chain hops a bit and it drops down, and that's the problem there. Now he's in a situation where he's going to chase back. This is going to be very difficult for him at this point in the race. When you lose 10 seconds, 15 seconds, so difficult to get back. And out front we can see Phinney is really pushing on. He's riding for Van Mark now. He's really trying to pull back this advantage, but Sagan still 1:26 of an advantage.
And here is Niki Terpstra with his latest acceleration. This is Terpstra's big push to the front, maybe one last throw of the dice to try and catch those in front. The gap has gone down by about 10 seconds, 16.9 kilometres to go. Phinney's job is done. It's up to Van Marke to try and capitalise it. And he's on the wheel right now of Niki Terpstra, 1:20. So 10 seconds of the gap gone, but he needs to come down by quite a bit more. Oh, Van Avermaet just losing the wheel. Is that a sign of weakness, or is that a little mistake? He's going to get straight back on here, but we'll find out, Sean, on the next sector exactly what the problem was.
Yes, I think maybe he wasn't immediately in the wheel and just lost a little bit of ground, a number of bike lengths. Looked like he was getting back after coming off the section of cobbles there, but we can see Terpstra really pushing on here, and yeah, the man from Lotus Soudal, Jens de Busker, he's putting in a real strong performance as well, looking quite strong at the moment.
Well, Yellow Allies, in fact, who's dropped back from the breakaway. De Busker is still in that group, Sean. It is a very good performance from De Busker, but it's Allies who's using up his last bit of energy. In the meantime, on the Carrefour de l'Arbre, 1 minute and 15, so 15 seconds has just gone off the breakaway gap. Is there one last glimmer of hope? It would take a huge performance from those behind. There's skips left, skips right, nervous moments for Sagan. This is the roughest sector of cobbles, and this was that nervous moment with the flag. What's that doing there? Wow, right in the middle of the road. It's a big thing. Remember, we saw it happen last year at the Ronde van Vlaanderen with the Coat and Sagan, and similar possibility of incident there. In the meantime, Sagan looks round. I wonder if he can believe if Dillia's still there with him.
I think he's getting a little concerned. We can see there the look over his shoulder, the glance to his right hand side, and he did put in, a big effort there from Sagan. We could see Dillia, he was fighting to stay in the wheel. We could see his back wheel sliding a bit just as they approached that big flag, but Dillia is looking impressive, and I'm wondering, is Sagan, thinking, is this guy going to, start playing about in the end? Because if you do not contribute in the final, 2 kilometres, then you're going to really, make Sagan nervous here, and he's going to try, in this section, try and get rid of Dillia, and that's what he's trying to do at the moment, because he's really giving, I think, his 100%.
Yeah, and this is the last hard section. Look at Dillia having to pedal that little bit harder now. Look, concentration, hands on the bars. He's gritting his teeth as he tries to hold on. Sagan, in the meantime, increases the power. There are 4 kilometres left on the cobbles, but there's nothing quite like this after this. This is the last difficult section. Sagan and Dillia just sticking to his wheel. 1:12 is the gap. So they've lost 20 seconds. They won't be too... Oh no! De Bussera has blown. De Bussera has blown. All that work from his teammate there, Yellow Allies at the front, and De Bussera is out of the game. It's Terpstra who's pushing on. He has Van Marke still with him. Sturven is the man in the red and black in third wheel. There's Greg van Avermaet in fourth wheel with a number 1 on his back, the defending champion. And I tell you what, for a man who's not on his top form, again, hat off to Greg van Avermaet in this classic series, because he's been there and thereabouts without clearly being at his best.
Well, that is the type of bike rider. He's, a huge talent, a huge class bike rider, and even when they're not at their best, they will not admit that, and I think they have been doing that, but he's really fighting here, and what a chase group we've got here, the 4 riders. I think Sagan has been made aware of that also, that the chase has been upped further back the road by this group of riders, and that's the reason he has to push on here, because still 14.7 to go. Gap coming down 1:12 at the moment.
Carrefour de l'Arbre is over for the world champion and his companion, but Peter Sagan's mind will start to have funny thoughts about why Sylvain Dillier is still there with him. He accelerated and accelerated, but couldn't shake the Swiss champ. They have enough of a gap at the moment, 1 minute and 10 seconds. But with Carrefour de l'Arbre and its second part done, they're under the sector of Gruson, 1.1 kilometres, a 2-star sector, and still Dillier is there. It's all Sagan this now, every time we're on the cobbles, but still the Swiss hangs on.
Yes, and he's got to do it here. He has to do it. He has no choice now, and with 14.2 to go, a minute and 5 seconds, a minute and 4, with the chase, up in behind, they are pushing on. He will be aware of that, and he's in that position where he has to just keep on working at it and try and hold on to as much an advantage. And it's going to be a complicated one for Sagan in the end, because I think Dillier will try and play the game in the end. He will start missing turns when we get onto the asphalt roads. So for Sagan, it's becoming a bit of a complicated one here as we go into the final.
He would trust his sprint to beat Dillier, wouldn't he? Dillier's a fast man, let's not forget, but surely Sagan, the world champion, has to trust his own sprint.
Well, if you have got the time to play around with him, then you can do a lot. But looking at the situation at the moment, a minute is coming to now, and that is going to still, I think, come down, because they are definitely going to try and work together, the 4 chasers. And let's not forget the talent we have. Van Avermaet, Terpstra, Stuyven, Van Mark, all specialists in Paris-Roubaix, specialists in classic riders. They can ride the final so fast, and that is going to be the difficult one for Sagan. A minute, it sounds a lot, but with 13.4 to go, it could come down a lot. And Dillier still contributes here, so that is the good thing, I think, for Sagan, that he is prepared to still walk with him.
Yep, off the cobbles and back to the front again. Sylvain Dillier up there with Peter Sagan. Just gets rid of anything he doesn't need from his pockets. Maybe looking for that extra gel that he's still got. A little bit of food to finish off. 13 kilometres left in this race, the 116th Paris-Roubaix. It's funny, isn't it, because you get rid of a gel wrapper there. How much in terms of weight is that going to affect? But it's almost psychological, if anything, isn't it? Clean your pockets, get rid of anything you can, any sort of weight, and you might feel a little better.
Yes, well, when you take the gel and you swallow the gel down to get it back into your pocket, it takes that bit of an effort. At this point in a race like Paris-Roubaix, you're just you're really not able to do that. You're not interested in doing it. You're so focused on the race out in front, and certainly when you're out in the front end of the race, you're just concentrating. You're so focused there. You just do those things.
What's left in the tank in this group? What is left in the tank in this group? 4 riders, 4 specialists, 2 former winners, podium finishers, and 57 seconds to chase down. Van Avermaet, Terpstra, 2 winners in the last few years. Van Markers come close. Stuyven was up there last year. 4 big quality bike riders from 4 different teams, none of them represented at the front. They must join forces for the final 12 kilometres to chase the Swiss champion and the world champion. The Swiss champion out there since this morning. The world champion Sagan out there with 53 kilometres to go. It's bubbling up to a lovely, lovely conclusion. The hard sectors at Pavé are out the way. We have 2 still to go. Sector 2 at Anne, and then the final one in Roubaix, which is the easiest one of the lot before we get to the velodrome finish. 54 seconds, Sean, on the spot. Is it enough?
It's impossible to know, because you do not know how the riders are feeling, and the chasing group, as we mentioned, that the 4-man group, it's a real group of talented riders, but how much have they got left in the tank? We did see Van Avermaet look like to be suffering, but he is still contribution. Stuyven looks to be like the one who is missing turns there, and that can be the decisive one, because if one starts to miss turns, well, then the others are thinking, well, is he waiting for the sprint? If we give it 100% to try and catch Sagan and Dillier, will he be the one who will just beat us all in the sprint? So it is a complicated one. As a bike rider, you just never know how much these guys have left, and it's looking as 49 seconds at the moment. It's definitely coming down, still with that 11 kilometres to the finish.
Well, in the last 6 or 7 kilometres, It's come down by almost half. Okay, we've had two of the most difficult cobbled sectors in the whole race, but the alarming thing for the two up front, I think it started to come down a little bit more since we've gone on the asphalt road again, and each and every one of these riders, including Sturven again now, have realised that they have to take turns and are riding hard.
Yes, well, I think everybody will be, wanting the other ones to contribute, and all four riders here will be just, talking to each other, and if there's some of the riders do not want to contribute, they will be getting called by the riders and saying, we all have to ride here. It's in all our interest to continue on riding together.
By the way, with Ben, I am informed that he did ride it more than once. Won it once in the World Champions jersey, but if Peter Sagan wins in the World Championships jersey this year, we can stop talking about that fact. We've been banging on about it for years and years and years. Sagan is up there and has a chance, but I'll tell you what, he will not be a happy man if this lot catch them behind, because it was looking a lot better 5 or 6 kilometres back than it is now. 46 seconds with 10 kilometres to go. Delia, the Swiss champion. Sagan talks about entertaining. He's sometimes been criticised for entertaining too much and not getting enough results. He's there with 47 seconds of a gap. He has Delia with him. You just saw the last picture, didn't you, of Van Avermaet's black jersey there with salt plastered all over it. These are tired riders out there. Into the final 10 kilometres. Remember, inside that 10 kilometres, we have 2 more sectors of cobbles to go. Some of the easier ones. That's the last 2 kilometres of sectors, by the way. And we also have 1.5 laps around the very famous Roubaix velodrome. It's been a dry day all day. We've seen some moments we would have not rather seen. And of course, we're still rather worried about a couple of the riders who were taken off to hospital. We've no further information on the status of those riders, I'm afraid. This is the scene in the velodrome. The scene of those awaiting the crowning of a new hero. Will it be another coronation for the 3-time consecutive world champion Sagan? Will it be the biggest win of Sylvain Delia's career? 7 victories so far in his career. He's always been a promising rider. He switched teams this year, of course. He's at AG Dessert Mondial now, and they're approaching the penultimate sector. This is what's happening behind. Once more for Quick-Step. The road has decided who will be the leader, and it is Nicky Terpstra. Just behind him, Jasper Sturven in the red and black. The Olympic champion is Greg van Avermaet, and defending champion with number 1 on his back in 3rd position. And here, yet again, he's had such a good, strong, consistent classic season. In the pink, white and green, it's Sepp van Marke, the Belgian. 2 Belgians here at the front. There's the 3rd. And a Dutchman. Terpstra's looked great over the last few weeks. Remember, it's not just the Tour of Flanders last week. He was a winner in Wallonia and Lusamin, first of the cobbled classics after Omloop at Nieuwsblad, just after opening weekend. Delia approaching that penultimate sector. They're 200 metres away from the banner. A little chat between the two. I wonder what's being said here. The last couple of Ks, things have gone okay for them, Sean. They haven't hemorrhaged seconds as they did on the last couple of Ks approaching it. They're 45 ahead still.
Yes, they're holding on quite well. It was coming down. It was looking. I was looking at it and getting concerned for the 2 leaders out on the road, but they're holding that advantage. The 45 seconds. 7.7 to go. It looks like it should be enough, but again, a Paris-Roubaix, you just never know what can happen in the final. But it looks like with our 4 chasers, they seem to be contributing quite well, and I think they're giving it pretty much close to the 100%. So to close down 47 seconds in just over 7 kilometres, it looks like it's not going to happen for the guys. And let's not forget Wout van Aert, who was originally in this group and had that problem when he dropped his chain. He would have been here also. That would have been an extra man. So he has been unlucky to have that mechanic at a totally wrong time.
We've just been past a picture of you, Sean, not so long ago. This is the hero segment. Some of the heroic winners of Paris-Roubaix and their portraits plastered along the side of the road.
Doesn't look like a hero's place.
They should have chosen a better sector, shouldn't they? All the winners are there. Is Peter Sagan going to add his face to the portraits alongside here? I wonder if Nicky Terpstra has got time to look up at the picture of himself as he rides past. Here is Sagan. Again, still the bones rattle as they ride on the cobbles for the penultimate time. 54.2 kilometre of pavé ridden after this. And there's just the couple of 100 metres of a sector going on the way to Roubaix to finish things off. Sagan still can't shed Dillier. 51 seconds, the gap's grown again. That's good news for them. Not so good news for those behind chasing. Remember, we know that it isn't over till it's over. Remember a couple of years ago when everybody went to the velodrome, Sean, and we're all expecting Tom Bonan to walk the sprint easily, and Matt Hayman surprised them all. Peter Sagan cannot count his chickens here, can he?
Certainly not. In Roubaix, you just never know what the other rider has got left in the tank, and everybody gets to the end of a Paris-Roubaix, and you know you're pretty much at the end of your powers. And if somebody have just got that little bit more, normally in a sprint, Sagan, he should not have a problem against a rider like Dillier. But at the end of a Paris-Roubaix, we have seen many surprises.
Tom Bonan said last year before his last race, he said, "Without bad luck, this is an honest race." Do you agree?
Yes, definitely. I think yes, it's a very honest race. It's the man who's got the most strength, the most power, the rider who wants it most. They're the ones who come out on top. Of course, there's always that mechanical which you have to take into mind. But outside of that, it's certainly an honest one.
6 kilometres to go. 54 seconds in front of the Van Avermaet group. Time almost run out for these guys now. Van Avermaet still rides on. They will continue to try, no doubt about that. But Sagan and Dillier in particular are still going. Shake of the legs. Now we get this towards the end of the races. And Dillier, well, he's going to become a celebrity overnight in Switzerland. This has been a super ride, and certainly in a country where Cancellara, of course, won it as well, and they're looking for their next man. In the meantime, behind there's movement. Terpstra's realising that it's getting late. It's getting very late. He may be trying to shed somebody else out of this group as well. Remember that these guys still have things to fight for. Being on the podium itself at Paris-Roubaix is a very, very prestigious thing.
Yes, well, definitely be on the podium. It's a great achievement, and we can see there, this group of Stubar. It's quite a bit further back, a minute, but Van Avermaet and more so Terpstra wants to push on here, but I think they have to realise now that 50 seconds with just under 5 kilometres to go is not going to happen. They're not going to be able to pull back this two-man leading group out front.
Well, we mentioned Bernard Hinault winning in the rainbow jersey. Marcel Kint did it in 1943. Rick van Looy in 1961 and the year after. Eddy Merckx in 1968. Francesco Moser in 1978. Hinault in 81. Is Sagan going to be the next? Or will Sylvain Dillier join the Swiss stars and Fabian Cancellara as a winner with that national cross on his back? 4.4 kilometres to go. 52 seconds. They have the gap now. I think we can say that. They have the gap. It's going to be one of these two, barring some bizarre incident.
Yes, well, I think the way it's looking at the moment, Dillier is still contributing there, and he's not afraid to take his turn in the front, which is a nice thing to see. And is he feeling that strong? Is he feeling that confident that he can continue on working here with Sagan all the way to the finish as we go close to the 4K to go?
Well, one of the most popular races on the national calendar anywhere. Everybody watches this. Everybody is in front of their set, and if they aren't, they're on the side of the road. Look at the crowds here. We've already seen the overhead of the velodrome, packed to the rafters. And wherever you've been watching from the start today, we've thoroughly enjoyed your coverage with us. It's been brilliant to have you along. But we're still yet to decide the finish. There's Van Avermaet at the front. Now to the front of the race, 58 seconds. The gap's gone out to almost a minute again. It's been an incredible seesawing back to front, a lot of drama. And who would have thought at 53 kilometres to go, when everybody hesitated as Sagan went, that would be the move. And we did talk about the value in a race and the influence in a race of hesitation, and whatever happens here, whether it's Dillier or Sagan, that hesitation behind is going to condition the result because they left it too late.
Yes, well, I was wondering, what the riders starting to suffer with the efforts they put in the earlier part of the race, or was it that they were playing that tactic between the teams? I think some of the riders were, definitely feeling the effects of the race at that point with about 50 kilometres to go, and that was the reason they did not react. And Gilbert's the one who was being a bit disappointing. I was expecting him to be more active in this final, but we talked about that in the early part of our programme. He hasn't been here for many years. He's a specialist on the cobbles, but when you ride over that number of cobbles, over 50 kilometres, sometimes the effects, it can really affect you, and the tiredness can set in. And Gilbert was the one who was suffering 40-50 kilometres to the finish already today. And Sagan, amazing that he took it up early. Paris-Roubaix in the last years, it seems to be the thing to do. You have to take it up quite early, 50-60 kilometres to the finish. That's the way you can win a Roubaix.
Well, this is going to be one of the long-range moves, whoever pulls this off. Remember the last few years when the main moves have gone. Tom Bonen at 53 Ks to go. Sagan, if he wins, will be the same. For Dillier, it will be very much in the mould of Matt Hayman a couple of years ago when he got in the morning break, survived the morning break, and when the big boys came to play from the peloton, he stayed with them. 53 kilometres per hour, entering Roubaix. If you've never been, it's a post-industrial, very, very dreary town where the rest of the year not very much happens. But for one day, it's the centre of the world in sporting terms. Dillier still rocking and rolling left to right. How's he going to get on here? 2 kilometres to go. It's a straight, long line. They'll go left in a few hundred metres onto a very short section of cobbles. They're just town centre cobbles, nothing like what we've seen so far. It's a cobbled sector only in name, really. And then there'll be that huge right-hand turn, the swing into the grounds of the sporting complex, where we've got the indoor velodrome, the famous outdoor velodrome, the bank of fans on either side, 1.5 laps around between these two to decide. This is the last sector of cobbles now, but again, very small things, just like what you'd see when you go downtown to do your shopping. This is not Carrefour de l'Arbre. It's difficult to make the move here and ride away from riders, but Dillier is there, still taking turns, still riding. They have a minute on those behind. It's going to be either the Swiss champion or the world champion. It's going to be Sylvain Dillier. Oh, it's going to be for the first time at Paris-Roubaix, the one that Sagan told us here at Eurosport the other day that he wanted to win. The cobblestone, Paris-Roubaix. It's one more right turn, then onto the track, and here we are. So one right, the other 90 degree, the cheer as they enter the arena. Listen to this, Dillier looks around and now the tactical games can begin. 5 hours, 53 minutes of riding through hell. Is it going to be the biggest win of the Swiss champion's career? Is it going to be another monument for Peter Sagan? Sagan sits and has Dillier exactly where he wants him at the moment. He's right on his wheel, ready to pounce. Shakes the legs, he's confident, he's ready. So much energy ready to go. It's Dillier who tries to watch him like a hawk. They're well into the last half a lap now. Dillier is there in the red and white of Agile des Erlam on the other French team. The Swiss star on his red bike. And it's the world champion on the gold bike, approaching 250 metres to go. Last bend coming up. Sagan has him right where he wants him at the minute, but where is the moment that he launches his sprint? And there is Sagan who dives down. Sagan hits the front, but can he stay there? It is Peter Sagan. It is his moment. It is going to be the world champion in Roubaix for the first time since '81. It's Peter Sagan, arms aloft, and he has what he came here for. Sagan the winner, second place to Dillier, 50 your performance, Sean Kelly, from Peter Sagan?
What a ride, and to take it up, to have the confidence to take it up at that distance out with so many riders in that leading group of favourites, and a lot of riders with some teammates there. Always a risky one, because if you take on too early, well, then you pay the price dearly. And Sagan, that's the big champion he is. And also Dillier, you have to hand it to him, he walked all the way, fought all the way to the end, but Sagan in the sprint, by far the strongest.
He has it, the second monument in his career. We sat down with him on Monday, asked him the question, if any race that he hadn't won so far was the big one you wanted to win, and the first answer was this one, Paris-Roubaix. A muddied, dirtied world champion comes to the finish, wins from 53 kilometres out. He had great company and a real word for Sylvain Dillier, because although Sagan will be the man we all talk about in the newspapers, Dillier had to be there, was there, and well, what a ride from him.
Well, what a performance, and yes, being out there from very early part of the day, he contributed pretty much 50-50 with Sagan all the way to the finish, and I thought he would start playing the tactic a bit. They had an advantage, and I thought he might just start sitting on Sagan the final 2 kilometres just to make him nervous and see could he do something against in the sprint, because you never know how Peter Sagan is feeling. But a brave effort by Dillier, but Sagan, what a performance. And he's had difficult times in the classics, and but today, no doubt at all, took it up with a huge distance out, and wins the Paris-Roubaix. And it's the one, I think, all professionals, if you ask them, the specialists in the classics, if you ask them which one they want to win, I think Paris-Roubaix would be the one they would choose first.
So says a former multiple winner. Nils Pollitt sprinting in for the minor places, and you can see, you get a sense of just how important it is for every rider. All riders sprinting for every single place.
Yes, well, I think every place counts, and certainly top 10 in Paris-Roubaix. It's an honour to be up there in that position, and everybody you can see just fighting all the way to the line.
Well, we've seen another special race today out there. Sagan wins his second monument. He won the 100th Tour of Flanders 2 years ago. He has won the 116th Paris-Roubaix here in 2018, and he's done it in the rainbow jersey. Bora Hansgrohe had that win. Peter Sagan has his cobblestone, and Sagan, the winner of Paris-Roubaix. Well, he's going to have some very excited locals that he's been training with and making friends with over the last few weeks to go and show off that cobblestone too. Do you know he was out training with the Belgian champion Baker the other week? They have a Baker championship for all of the bike riders who are Bakers in Belgium, which probably most of them, given the love for the sport there. And he was pictured with his rainbow jersey. And there he was. And that is a lovely, lovely image. He's made friends on the road as well today, and Dillier will be part of a special finish, and that's a lovely image.
Yes, well, I think sportsmanship there, and not surprised, because Dillier, as we said, the way he performed there in the final with Sagan, I think he will be very, very, very happy with the way he rode, and gave it his all the way to the line.
Sagan, Dillier, Terpstra is the podium with Van Avermaet, last year's winner, finishing in 4th. Another top 5 for Sturven, 6th for Van Marke. Pollitt, Finney in the top 8 as well. A great result for a man who's in love with this race. Another top 10 for Stibar without winning it. And De Bussera finishes in 10th place. That is a mightily strong top 10 at a very impressive ride and Paris-Roubaix. And here is the winner.
To win Paris-Roubaix, you did it. How does it feel now?
Amazing. No, I'm so tired after this race, but I have to say this year I never been involved in some crash. I never felt tired, and after I just saved energy, and after I just did one step forward, like I attack, and I kept going until the finish, and I've stayed now much better than the whole years what I finished Paris-Roubaix. I was much more tired than today, and I'm very happy. I have to thanks to say thank you to all my teammates because they did very great job. Daniel Oss, Burgard and Bodnar. My brother also, and the guys from the start, they kept the group all together, and in the end I did also the winning move, 50 to go or something like that, and I'm very happy to came first. It's an amazing feeling, yeah.
Peter, you're the first rider since Bernard Hinault to win Paris-Roubaix with this yellow jersey. You were in the legend, but you are again in the legend of cycling. How does it feel? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. I hope, or I try to do my best to keep my best results. Thank you.
C'était Niki Terpstra qui venait de te féliciter. Merci beaucoup. Thanks a lot, Peter.
Very much, guys.
Nice to hear Peter Sagan relieved, happy. Probably the biggest win in his career, given the fact that he's struggled maybe over the last few months in terms, he hasn't won a monument since 2 years ago when we all thought he was going to take everything on and win everything. He's since lost a very close Milan-San Remo, but he's back here, and this is the one that might just kickstart everything for him and his new team.
Yes, well, first of all, I don't think you know anything about Bernardino winning the Paris-Roubaix in the World Champion jersey. He just didn't understand that question at all, but that's the way the riders are. But yes, for Sagan here, I think it will give him that little bit more confidence again, and he's a rider that goes out. We've seen him the way he rides the race. Sometimes, he puts in the efforts there to put on a show, and that's the type of rider he is, and that is great for bike riding, and it's brilliant to see him winning here today.
And in what style as well. We know the entertainment factor is important for him. We know he's criticised for that on occasion by those who maybe win more and think he should win more. But today he has won, he has entertained, and of course I think you once said that it's very, very nice to ride. Very horrible to ride, but beautiful to win, rather.
Yes, well, it's one of the most difficult races to ride, and I'll not say exactly what I say about Paris-Roubaix, but it's the greatest race to win, and when you manage to win it, like the achievement there, and yeah, it puts you in that that role of honour of champions, which goes on for the rest of your life.
Peter Sagan has made it. This is where he made the accelerations to get forward. Remember, he joined the breakaway while Lies was still there at this point. He rode very well as well. A little bit of advice both on the radio and back at the car. Even a mechanical repair. That one added to the entertainment factor, certainly, and the doubts we might have had around things. But as those bars continue to shake, Sagan would continue to press on through the banks of fans either side, and I know plenty cheering him on, watching their television sets and streams from wherever they were around the world. Bora Hansgrohe and Asher de Sela Mondial, the main team protagonists, but it will be Bora Hansgrohe with their world champion to win it, and I think he enjoyed it, with Sylvain Dillier, and a lovely image of the two who rode together to the finish. Hat off indeed, chapeau. And Niki Terpstra proving his strength. What a spring he's had. 3 huge wins and another podium. And I think the crowd enjoyed what they saw. Sagan, the entertainer. And there'll be plenty more of that at the dinner table tonight. And this is how the sprint was played out. Dillier in the front, Sagan just kept him exactly where he wanted him all the way.
He sure did, and he looked impressive here. It looked good. It looked like he was going to put up a big battle, but Sagan, timing perfectly, got the jump on him, and we could see Dillier was just fighting to stay in his wheel.
Yep, Sagan jumping down, using the height of the velodrome very well indeed, and able to celebrate. It was one simple acceleration required to win. All the hard work really was done out there on the cobbles. Sagan, Dillier and Terpstra on the podium of this Paris-Roubaix. They haven't won so often this year. He is the big star of the team. It is all about him. We know that. And today he's delivered. And it's funny how one race, one moment can change the outlook on things, because if he hadn't won this today, we'd be thinking, oof, they've got, what, 3 wins this season as a team? Sagan's only really won against Wevelgem and a stage in Australia. The team itself has only had 1 stage of the Basque Country, but now with this win on top, confidence everywhere, and they can achieve what they want this year.
Yes, well, it takes all the pressure off the team, and Sagan more so. I think if he had not won today, well, then we'll be asking the questions, you know, is he going to win many classics? He's having difficulty, and is it going to continue on? Today it will quieten everybody, and now he will just go away from the classic campaign, himself and the team, with so much confidence.
Well, he did tell us last week when we spoke to him that either his final race of this first part of the season would be today, or he would continue to Amstel Gold. We'll see what the decision is. We'll probably have to see how late they party into the night for that one as well.
Well, I think after the victory here, I'd be surprised if we see him in at the Amstel Gold, because now he's done it. He can just take a bit of time out and start preparing for the rest of the season.
And the next part of his season will be the Tour of California. It will be the Tour de France, where he's very eager to get back after all that happened last year. And then, of course, on to the World Championships. But that would be a huge task given the course this season. Sagan has delivered today. He's delivered from a long way out, joining the likes of Tom Bonen and attacking just before Auchy-les-Auchy to take home the queen of the classics, the big one on the cobbles, Paris-Roubaix. And I think we'll see that on the back of several newspapers tomorrow. Had to have the legs to do it. He did it. This is a race that is impossible for the faint of heart. And all of those who committed are to reach the velodrome now. By the way, it's an average speed of 43.55 today. Sprint for places continues on. This is 12 minutes down. See the former winner, Heyman, is in there. And for a lot of people, this is just a special moment in itself in reaching the velodrome. And in they will roll. Even those who don't make the time cut today will want to get round and go across the finish line. There is quite simply nothing like it, nothing else like it in world cycling, and in a lot of ways in world sport as well. It's a unique thing that really does hark to a different era. There's the brand new velodrome alongside it. We're going to leave you in a minute. Head home from Roubaix, and thanks for your coverage, Sean. It's been a day that is hard to describe, just 10 minutes after the event, but one I think that we've all enjoyed.
Yes, I think Paris-Roubaix never fails, and you know, it's such an exciting race, and you know, there is times where it does go a bit low. Unfortunately, that is bike racing, 260 kilometres of racing, but the final always spectacular, and it was once again today.
All strengths and weaknesses clearly on show on the road and the cobbles today.